Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, leggers and dickheads, welcome back to another episode of Monster Hunter World. And today, ladies and gents, we're looking at the Grand Pickle himself. Let it be noted, I've never referred to Deviljho as Pick before my entire life. Never, not once, not in Try, 3U, 4, Gen, none of that. This is the very first time it's on the record now. Anyway, we are here today with my man Joe. He is DLC. He's the first DLC monster we actually received in Monster Hunter World, and he's back. He's a fan favorite. He's not necessarily a favorite of mine, but I do respect my man quite a bit. Now, the biggest thing that a lot of people actually like about my man in this particular game is that he gets into beef with everyone. And Basil Goose, remember Basil Goose? He was supposed to be quote-unquote the new quote-unquote, that's a lot of quotes actually, supposed to be the new Joe, so to speak, where in which the monster would travel to anywhere in any of the maps and just wreak havoc to anyone in the area. But Joe is back. He is reclaiming his title. He gets into turf wars with everything. He eats and kills all the monsters he gets into a fight with. There is no stopping my man's right here, but we get ahead of ourselves. Today, let's look at what it takes to actually fight my man. All we really need to do is be, I believe, HR 13 and above, and take on the special assignment. I forget what it's called, but just take on the special assignment. To actually get to this, you must first talk to a group of researchers that you actually helped when you pushed the cart for them and when you first fought the Barrett, so to speak. They will be right there in the trade yard at the quest board, or right near the quest board. You talk to them, have the exclamation point over their head. You talk to them like, yo, we see some tracks of some monsters, but we need you out there and do some research for it. Easy way to do this is seriously just go to Rotten Vale. He is in the Rotten Vale. Go to Rotten Vale on an expedition, pick up all the tracks, fight him there if you want to. I did. I fought him there and beat him quicker than I did in this particular video here. But then you'll come back to him and they're like, yo, we found him. Here's a quest for it. Boom, here you are. The handler gets manhandled a little bit, but then you pretty much all you have to do is knock the Deviljho down. If you are a hammer user or someone who actually uses impact, if you knock the Deviljho out, the handler will be off his back, and then you can continue the quest accordingly. The only way in which you can fire your SOS flares if you were to at first knock the handler off the Joe's back by knocking the Joe over. Traps don't help. I tried to use a trap and didn't help. But yeah, once you get the man knocked over, you get to fight him, you know, as a real quest. Now, all the damage you dealt before then still carries on, because I fought him for like 10 minutes before I even knocked him over, and then we finished the fight shortly afterwards. So what it takes to actually really fight my man, though, you're gonna need to have a measure of adamant seed or something that restores the defense, because the saliva does bring you with defense down. So if you have the skill iron skin, I should say, it makes it to where your defense is locked in. It won't actually go down for whatever reason. So if you actually have that skill available on an armor set, go ahead and use that and you'll be in good hands. But truly, so if you ever fought Joe before, yo, he's the same thing. I mean, I can't get mad at him. He's the same thing. There's a couple of small changes, a couple of notable ones, two that I'll actually talk about really real briefly. But for the most part, Joe is the same. He kind of looked the same. The music is a little different. His roar is a little different as well. His roar used to be a bit more prominent. Now it's kind of not necessarily hard to tell, but it didn't seem to be as powerful as it used to be from before. Again, like I said, he gets in the turf wars with everyone, and anyone he can actually fit in his jaws, he will actually use them as a means to attack you. That is correct. You heard me the first time. If he is, a notable experience for me is Odogaron. He bit Odogaron, had him in his jaws, and was fighting me with him in his jaws. Like he was using him as like a stick. You know how you take a stick and beat someone with it? He was using him as a stick, so to speak, to beat me. That was actually pretty wild. A lot of people say that Odogaron could actually beat Deviljho. Bro, get out here, go to sleep. Anyway, but back to what I was trying to tell you guys before, the things he did change. When you actually put Deviljho in a trap, pitfall trap more importantly, or more notably I should say, is that he can actually attack while in that pitfall trap. He's able to do breath attacks, breath attacks, and he'll you know, throw his neck around and hit people in front of him. So if you pitfall him, don't stand in front of him, go around the back and attack or do whatever you need to do from the back, because that's where he's more vulnerable, because he can actually attack out of the traps now. 2, his breath attack hitbox has been changed quite a bit, and if you're used to how the old breath was, where it would go 1 for 1, meaning as he would you know, breathe it and swing the breath around, it would follow in a perfect line. Whereas this one seems to lag behind a bit because, well, I don't know, I guess it's just like the nature of breath. I mean, like, if you ever been in like the really, like, if you've ever been outside and it's like, wow, you can see your breath, and you just blow really hard, you can see your breath, you know, you see the steam or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the heck it's called, but you can see your breath. but if you try to like whip it around, it kind of takes it a little bit for it to catch up to where your mouth was when you did it. They went with that line of thought when it came to making Joe's breath attack. So now if you are one who likes to evade through the breath, or one who likes to counter the breath by using your guard or whatever, you have to delay it a little bit longer because the breath hitbox itself doesn't actually hit until a little after his face goes past you, which is something that it didn't take me it didn't take me long to realize, but it's something I did totally and indefinitely notice when I was fighting him. But that's that. And really, honestly, to fight Joe, I mean, he's Joe. I mean, if you ever fought him before, then yo, you know what to expect. Truth be told, he doesn't hit that hard. I was expecting a savage beatdown, but it didn't really hit that hard. So I mean, maybe might be because I've been fighting him for like 10 years now. I feel like not 10 years, what is it, like 6-7 years now? But maybe we're kind of fighting for a really long time. I feel like he's not that hard to me, but I found him relatively easy. But he's still a good hunt. He's still a good hunt. But once you actually do finish hunting my man, let's talk about what it takes. Well, not what it takes, but once you get done fighting him, you can indeed make armor and weapons just like any other monster. And it's really cool because they actually added a couple of new weapon types that he's never actually had before ever. Notably the Insect Glaive, and I believe also the Charge Blade. So if you're either one of those users, when you go to make his gear, be prepared to know that you have some stuff there for you. Now, when it comes to his gear is actually pretty dope. I'll admit it's not like the greatest armor of all time, but it's some pretty decent stuff. We're looking at Part Breaker off the rip. There's no set skill, by the way, which is a little bit of a bummer, but hey, he is DLC. He can't be super overpowered. But you were looking at Part Breaker 3. This is the alpha set I should also mention. It's the Part Breaker 3. We know what it does. Part damage increased by 30%. Handicraft level 3. Increase your weapon sharpness by 30. Speed eating greatly increases item use speed, so like anything like drinks, meat, etc., take it like super quickly. It's a really cool skill. Actually, I like it a lot. Latent power level 3, while active, increases the affinity by 30% and reduces the stamina depletion by 30% also. So once you take enough hits or whatever, latent power will activate, and then you'll be given these buffs. It lasts for about like a minute or so. So I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's a little unreliable. And guard is my talisman, unfortunately. But yeah, that's what we're looking at on his skills. Now the beta is kind of the same. Looks a little different, of course, but you only get speed eating 3, latent 3, and part breaker 1. You lose the handicraft all day, so that's kind of a bit of a bummer. But I mean, it's still pretty decent. What a lot of people are gonna probably do is they'll mix it. You know, they'll get a couple of alpha, a couple of beta pieces. But that's about that. His weapons, though, his weapons are. I normally don't do this, but we're gonna go look at his weapons. So his weapons are actually really good. I wouldn't say like really good, but honestly, when it comes to raw attack, I want to say they're probably some of the highest in the game. Not quite as high as maybe Diablo's, but still very high nonetheless. So anyway, for an example, because I'm a lancer, we're gonna use the lance as an example. Its attack is 483. This is the first one. Again, it is going to be upgraded. Let's max it out. Boom. So now we're looking at 529. So let's go for 529, the max out version, you know, because that's usually what people look forward to. So 529 is the max out damage for his particular lance. This is the highest damage of any lance in this game so far. Nergigante is the other high damage lance and only has 483. So the level 1 Deviljho lance and this maxed out lance have the same amount of attack. What sets the two apart seriously, though, is the fact that Deviljho's lance actually has a bit of negative, not even a bit, has quite a bit, I should say, negative affinity, negative 25 for most weapons. There's negative 30 on others, and I believe its dual blaze is negative 20 or something like that. So it has a lot of negative affinity. But if you're able to actually, let's say with your particular set, if you have a lot of critical increasing skills, you probably make it relatively viable. But as it stands, the only thing really setting it out from being the greatest thing since sliced bread is its affinity. Now, this is neither here nor there when it comes to certain weapons where people really don't care about. For example, I don't do this, but we're going to do it anyway. The Charge Blade. The Charge Blade is probably the most universally praised weapon to be kinda overpowered. After today, though, there have been buffs and nerfs in place that people will probably say it might not be as much. But the Diablo's Charge Blade is probably the most common Charge Blade you see out there. It has a super high attack in it. It also has negative 30 affinity. So for people who use this weapon and like, you know what, affinity I ain't worried about it, they could, you know, they could still rock it and call it a day. Now, what sets it, what makes this really good though is that it's an impact file. Impact files are the ones they actually use to knock monsters out with. Joe's, however, is not. It is an elemental file and it doesn't have as much as attack. So I mean, it's not going to replace the Diablo's Charge Blade. It's just probably going to be another high attack high attack Charge Blade that people could probably look into getting. So with the equipment and everything out of the way, for the most part, his not that bad. His equipment is pretty decent. Like I said, you have to put a little work into it and you'll be relatively okay. The affinity for some people could be a huge turn off. For me, it's not so much. I mean, it's just kind of whatever. I will probably try to fix the affinity a little bit. Latent power though, from the set skill, it kind of helps because, you know, your affinity does get increased, but it's kind of the thing that kind of happens only kind of, instead of like being a full-on set ability, kind of like how you have a critical life 5 or something like that. But that's neither here nor there. Actually, it is a little here and a little there because affinity is kind of like right there and it's kind of negative. But that's his gear. I mean, it's not that bad. I like it. I might actually rock it dead serious. It does have a high elder seal. I forgot to mention that. Nerganze also has a high elder seal, but this one has high elder seal and higher dragon. So if that's your build, then there you go. But all in all, Joe, not bad. You know, I like how they did it. They easily could have made my man Deviljho overpowered. They could have made him super strong. Could have made his gear super really overpowered. But they didn't. They found that nice balance to where he's supposed to be really strong and OP. So he's like right in between that. So I like it. It's a fair deal. It's a fair trade. But with that being said, everyone, it's been your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. I actually found Deviljho quite fun. I will be fighting him quite a lot. Actually, I will probably make both armor sets, alpha and beta, and then make his lance and his gun lance and pretty much anything else that really strikes my fancy. Might make the great sword or something. I don't know. Who knows? The weapons, like I said, they're good. They're just, you know, they're held back by a little bit of affinity if you can be bothered by it. But nonetheless, it's been your boy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. The next one though, I might have the next one might be a special video for you guys, for those who are probably you know, long time subs and everything. I'll probably hook something up for you guys, and it'll be dope for you peoples. Maybe, I don't know. It's a test, honestly, to see what you guys think about this particular type of video. But nevertheless, it's been your boy. I'll talk to y'all later. Take care.